Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. Halftime is over with. We are into the third quarter, the third hour this morning. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your start, whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, online, streaming it up at sportstalk1051.com. You've got your smart devices. Check out the video stream over at Man Cave TV. We got the crew, the Section 105 crew, chatting it up in the chat room there. Would love it if you guys could ring that bell and click subscribe on the YouTube channel. We want to get quite a few, even if you don't go on YouTube, but you have a YouTube account. If you could go out there and just click that subscribe button, that'd be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. So, all right, we've got since today is Wednesday, a couple things coming down the docket yet. We got our Hy-Vee game changers. So what was a play, what was a moment, or what was a game or player that's kind of changed the outcome of a game within the past week or so. Also, it is a Mike's Star Market, Am I Wrong Wednesday. So give me your sports opinion, give me your sports take, where you would say, am I wrong? Am I wrong for saying this? Am I wrong for thinking this? And since today is April 1st, happy April Fool's Day, everybody, we are collecting a list of either players, draft picks, trades, teams where you were fooled. Whether it was you were fooled because you thought they were going to be awesome, or you thought and they ended up not being, or you thought they were going to be awful, and, well, they weren't. So kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, multiple different ways. So continue to send your picks. Again, thanks to one of our listeners in the Section 105, Paul. Paul has dropped off a bunch of cards, a bunch of graded cards, a bunch of case cards, packs of cards, and such, because every Wednesday we do a little Inside the Hobby. And coming up here in a little bit, I was doing some research yesterday for this segment, since it is April Fool's, some of the cards that may have fooled people over the years in terms of, maybe kind of like those are going to be hot ones collecting, and maybe the value just like plummeted and such. So that's coming up here a little bit. But thanks to Paul here, we're going to be giving away some cards every Wednesday and such. So today, since it is baseball season, and if you're watching the video stream, we're going to be giving away a 1991 Kirby Puckett Score PSA graded 9 card. So, going to tell you how you can win this here in just a little bit here. All right. So, but just kind of want to give you a heads up. Maybe I'll just kind of do it whoever participation points. All right. If you can send me a player or a team that you were fooled by, I'll put you in the running for this, okay? So, but big thanks again to Paul. This is a sweet-looking card, so especially if you are a Twins fan or just a baseball fan here, maybe I'll put it up a little bit closer there. We're going to be giving this one away. So, again, big thanks to Paul for doing that. So, Paul, you should, like, start your own, like, maybe breaks or something like that. Maybe you do it. I don't know about it. So, but, all right. So that's more details coming up here in just a few minutes. Tell you how to win that, or put yourself in the running to win that card. Brewers yesterday picking up a win against the Tampa Bay Rays to even up this series at 1 apiece. So we got the rubber match today, 12:40 first pitch. Get Jacob Misiorowski for his second start of the season. But yesterday's game started off a little bit slow offensively, but they were able to kick it into gear and help out Brandon Woodruff and get Brandon Woodruff his first win of the season in his first start for this season. Thanks to Terang's bases clearing double in the bottom of the sixth, Brewers were able to take that 3-2 lead, tack on a couple more runs at the bottom of the 6th, or 3-2 lead at the bottom of the 5th, and then add a couple more at the bottom of the 6th, and then one more insurance run in the bottom of the 8th. But Jake Bauers, for a guy that we were talking about in spring training, who had a fantastic spring training, absolutely fantastic spring training, kind of wondering, would that transition, would that carry over into the regular season? And as we are approaching the first week of the regular season, look at it, maybe it has, because in 19 at-bats so far, he has 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, even a couple stolen bases. He's hitting .316 so far with a .948 OPS. So bring a little bit of pop. Gary Sanchez also bringing a little bit of pop. He also has 2 home runs to tie Jake Bauers for the team lead. So Bauer, Sanchez, your leaderboards in the home run category. Then you throw in Frelick, Contreras, and Christian Yelich. Each have 1 apiece. But looking at Jacob Misiorowski's start for today, obviously he had a solid start opening day, right? Settled down after giving up the home run and he was awesome. I think the biggest thing now that I want to see from Jacob Misiorowski going forward is, okay, can we see that consistently? It's not going to be every start where he's going to be awesome. Not every pitcher is going to be like that. But can he take that next step to where it's more times than not, where it's like, I don't know, 75, 80, 85% of the time he's out there. And you're going to get a really good start from him. You're going to have a solid start from him. Because I think we all want to see, as Brewers fans, Jacob Misiorowski develop into that ace of the staff, right? I think we all want to see him develop into that ace of this staff. He's got the talent. He's got the goods to potentially be a future Cy Young Award winner. We know this. We've seen it. It's just, I think, one of those hurdles now, or one of those steps that he has to do, or he has to accomplish, is putting together multiple starts in a row where he looks like the man, where he looks like the dude. Not having the EKG, the highs and the lows, where a couple starts here he's good, couple starts it's bad, then he's back to good and such. The emotions, we need to see it from a consistent basis. So even if he does it today, we want to continue to see it. Stack success, right? We talk a lot about stacking success when it comes to football and such, but we want to see that, I think, from excuse me. We want to see that from Jacob Misiorowski's standpoint, continuing to put together solid, really, really, really good starts. So, but that's kind of what I'm excited about for today, to see not only that, but also can the Brewers pick up a win and win another series and begin 5-1 to start their career, or to start their season, excuse me. So, first pitch again, 12:40. Coverage will begin at about 35 minutes prior, so you're looking at 12:05. And then later tonight, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks back in action. They're going to be taking on the Houston Rockets. 7 o'clock, coverage will begin at about 6:30. So, okay, tell you what, let's take a really quick break here. We'll jump more into some April Fools. All right, some more April Fool's stuff. Give me the player or players or moves, like draft picks, trades, or teams that you were fooled on. Brandon on the Section 105 said, where is it? We got a few more. So the Badgers fool me in every tournament since the 2 Final Four runs. Also, I thought Decker would have turned into a solid NBA player, fooled there as well. So, all right, let's take a quick break, and I'll tell you about how to win this shirtless Kirby Puck card. All right, tell you how to do that, and get to some more picks for April Fools, Sports Fools Day. We'll be right back after these few words. Looking for that perfect place to kick back this spring and summer? Well, then you need to head on over to the VFW Post 305, Eau Claire's go-to spot to relax, grab a beverage, and enjoy the moment. Inside, it's a great place to meet up with friends, but when the weather warms up, it's all about the patio. With one of the best river views in town, there's no better place to soak up the sunshine, unwind after work, and spend a weekend afternoon. Cold drinks, great people, and a view that you cannot beat. That's the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire, your spot to hang out this season. All right, so if you want to win, we're going to make it easy just to kind of get into a rhythm here. We're going to have some tougher stuff to win some of these other sweet cards that Paul has donated and such, but make it a little easy to kick off this contest here. So we're going to have it open until let's do it for the next hour or so. So we'll give it away to the 9 o'clock hour. But if you're just joining in, so one of our listeners in the Section 105 video chats on Man Cave TV, all right, kind enough, Paul, to donate a bunch of cards that we're going to be giving away every Wednesday. All right. So for this one, it is a Kirby Puckett graded PSA 9 card, shirtless card, 1991, from Score. You want to win this? Here's what you got to do. And even if you're not a twin, it is a Twins-related question. All right. Give me. We know who probably, you probably know who the top all-time leader in Twins history is for home runs. Who's second? All right. Who is second? So I'll tell you first, it's Harmon Killebrew is number 1. But there's a little bit of a gap between him and number 2. So who is second all time in Twins history for career home runs in Twins history, okay? Text me at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or you could go on the Section 105 chat and let me know your answers, okay? If you want to win this, you got a shot, all right? Looking at it right here. Everybody's got a shot. Who is second all-time in Twins history for home runs? Harmon Killebrew's number 1, but who's number 2? Who's number 2? Those, okay? John says, when the Bucks traded for Dame, I thought we were going to see at least 2 more championships in Milwaukee. Dame has been a very popular pick so far. About April Fools, our sports fools, where we were fooled and such. John, a little bit earlier, I didn't get to this one because I missed it. 2011 Philadelphia Eagles fooled me. Big names everywhere coined the dream team, but in reality, the locker room was a mess, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So, yeah, there's a lot of those super teams, right, that maybe sometimes we get fooled on. But I'll admit, yeah, the Dame's a good one. The Dame trade's a good one. Kind of got fooled there. Now, that's also kind of maybe a what if, too, in terms of, injuries. What if injuries didn't derail it? What if injuries didn't do this? If they would have been healthy when they've gotten to the playoffs, would they be different? Well, we don't know that. We'll never know that. But, I'll say, I think remember when Mike Sherman for the Packers, going to football here for a second, remember when he was general manager? I think he got fooled on a couple moves that he made. Remember the good old Joe Johnson and Hardy Nickerson era with Green Bay? Oh, that was fantastic. Eye roll. Got fooled on that one. Yeah, that was a big one. I remember that. I mean, they were names, right? They were names. So, but definitely got fooled. So, trying to think of some other. I'm trying to think of like outside. Packers ones are so easy because that's kind of where I'm at. We can look back at it now, but look at some of the pitchers in Brewers history. Jeff Suppan. Sorry, Clay, had to bring him up again. I know Clay brought him up for grind my gears. It still grinds your gears about Jeff Suppan, but at least Mark Ananazio was maybe fooled about Jeff Suppan. Matt Garza, Kyle Loesch was okay for like a minute when he was with the Brewers and that. But I'm trying to think of, was there Is there somebody else that the Brewers brought on besides pitcher that we were kind of fooled about? You know, Matt Gamble, I almost kind of chalked that one up to injuries more so than anything. Ken Maka, I think he kind of fooled Doug Melvin when Doug Melvin hired him as manager, because that didn't work out either. So, trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head. But I mean, you know, you could look at Packers in football is so easy because you could look at draft picks, you could look at trades, you could do this. I mean, you could look at a boatload of that stuff, and you can pinpoint a lot of those, right? I mean, that one's kind of easy in that to think of some of these. Otherwise, I'm trying to think of some teams. I mean, you could pick a bunch of Packers teams and say, yep, got fooled with them because I thought they were going to be really good. Thought they were going to be able to do some damage and such. Hey, how about the 2011-2012 Packers, 15-1 in the regular season? I was fooled. I'll tell you why I was fooled, because I thought, yep, I bought playoff tickets. Got to see the NFC Championship game. We're going back to the Super Bowl. Fooled. Went to that first one against the Giants. Got lost. And it was the second time. The second time the Giants fooled me, because, or made me look like a fool, I should say, because I bought tickets to that 07-08 NFC Championship game against the Giants with the thought that I'm going to see them celebrate an NFC Championship game, and got fooled again. So, hey, we were all fooled when Favre came back too, so I guess we could throw that one into the pot of some other possibilities and such. So, it's part of sports, though. Like, everybody has been fooled. General managers have been fooled. Scouts have been fooled. Coaches have been fooled. It's a part of sports, and it's a part, I would argue, and it's part of my Am I Wrong from Mike Starmarket, but Am I Wrong? It's part of what makes sports fun and what draws us to it. I mean, what did a lot of us just do, and we're wrapping it up? Brackets. We're picking brackets. But we're making picks, bracket challenges, right? A lot of people got fooled on teams that they picked to go far. Maybe they had Florida going all the way. They got fooled. That possibility of us getting fooled or proven wrong or however you want to phrase it is kind of an addicting drug to being a sports fan, I think, because we want to be proven right? We're our armchair quarterbacks. We're our Monday morning quarterbacks. We're sitting here talking about this and that this team should do this or so-and-so should do that because we want to be proven right. And then more times than not, we're probably wrong. Or we're made to look like an idiot. Like, how could we think that? Or how could we possibly think that? It's kind of an addicting drug, though. And I feel like it's part of what keeps us being, a sports fan or loving sports, because we want to be able to look like the smartest person in the room. We want to be able to predict this to happen. It's why I love the NFL draft, which is coming up in a couple weeks now, at the end of the month here. We're fools. How many of these draft people, when they do their mock drafts, get less than 10 picks correct? But that's a decent number. Like, I'm ecstatic. The one year I got 10 right. It's like, boom. It was awesome. And a lot of the other picks were made to look like fools. But we are addicted to it, man. We love it. We love this thing. And we're so bought into it. So everybody's been fooled in the sports world, man. Everyone's been thought that this was going to happen, or thought that this player was going to be great, or thought that this was going to work out, and it hasn't. But we keep coming back to it because we love it. It's one of the things that makes sports awesome. You know what I mean? So, we've got Brandon Wolf. I thought Favre was actually going to take the Vikings to the promised land. Then Favre did Favre things in the NFC Championship game. Never trust the Vikings. So, and as Paul said, also that Kirby is not the best card, so keep tuning in. Exactly. We're teeing it up here. Got to save some of the best for last, right? We'll mix it in there and such, but just to kind of kick it off, we're going with a little baseball theme with Kirby Puck. I got quite a few texts already, so if you're just joining in, give it away. Thanks to Paul again. 1991 PSA graded 9 Kirby Puckett Dream Team card with a simple trivia question. Who is second all time in Twins history for home runs? Okay? We know Harvey Killebrew is number 1, but who is number 2? Because there's a little bit of a gap. That's the one hit. All right, we'll take a quick break. And we'll be back to let's talk some more football. All right, so let's do that. Switch gears here a little bit. We'll talk some more football. So we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Spring is here, and it's the perfect time for a fresh start and a new ride. Whether you are planning road trips or tackling weekend projects, or you're just ready for something new, now is the time to upgrade. At Toyce and Ford, you'll find a great selection of trucks, SUVs, and cars built to fit your lifestyle and your budget. Plus, their team is here to make your car buying experience easy and stress-free. This spring, try something that you love. Toyce and Ford, your next adventure starts here. You can check them out at toysandford.net or visit them at 1000 Chippewa Crossing Boulevard in Chippewa Falls. So, Surgeon Keith says, on the last day of the 1979 baseball season, I went to the Twin Cities to see the Brewers become the first team ever to not be shut out for a whole 162-game season. With 1 out in the ninth, they hadn't scored. Then Ray Fosse hit a triple that hit about a foot from the top of the wall. Hope returned. Then he was thrown out at home on a ground ball, and the dream died. April Fools on me. That's a good one. Not for you, but that's a good story. Tim of the Cooley region, Chicago Bears got fooled on how many quarterbacks? Fair. Could also probably say the same thing with the Cleveland Browns here, too. So could throw those in there. But, yeah, those are some good ones. All right, keep those coming. If you're just joining in, you're like, what are you guys talking about? Doing our sports version of April Fools. Who are the players or the teams or some of the front office moves that you were kind of fooled on as a fan? All right? You thought, oh, that's going to be a good move or that's going to be an awful move, and ended up being good or bad. One or the other. So, but keep those coming. All right, keep those coming. So, and we'll get back to some more coming up here in just a little bit here. So, we got quite a few Packers ones on here too. So, I'm trying to go through. You know what? I'm going to save the card stuff on here because I see some of the boys in Section 105 are talking about that. But I'm going to keep that because we're going to do our Inside the Hobby segment coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. But this one was a little bit ago from Brandon on there. When I was younger, I thought Kajana Carter was the next big thing. Collected him hard. That retirement investment didn't plan in my favor. I remember I was a Kajana Carter fan too, Brandon. I remember I had it was PS1. I think it was like Game Day he was on the cover of. I think it was that. But then I remembered that I would just play as the Bengals and trade for Favre. And hand the ball off to Kajana Carter. So, Tim, in the Cooley region, no, nobody has mentioned the Herschel Walker trade either. But maybe if you are a Vikings fan, you probably would, possibly, right? So, what about some of the other trades? What are some other big trades where you're just kind of like, April Fools. April Fools on that. What were some of the most lopsided trades that we could call as like April Fools? There's got to be some that I'm just kind of blanking off the top of my head. Got to be some good ones. Yeah. Ricky Williams, Saints, would you call that as April Fools? I mean, the Saints just gave up a boatload of picks and such for him, so maybe something like that. Like, what are some of the other big... Robert Griffin III? I mean, it was great for a year, and then the injuries kind of just like... 49ers got so lucky. Think about that. The 49ers, for as much as they traded up to draft Trey Lance, and plays a couple games for them, if Brock Purdy doesn't develop into something, I don't even think Kyle Shanahan's still the head coach there. I don't think John Lynch is the general manager over there. They avoided one of the biggest April Fools jokes out there. I mean, think about it. How many other teams that make trades like that to move up to get a quarterback in a draft and trade a lot of that capital, and where the quarterback doesn't work out or the pick doesn't work out, and they're still around because they still win? They overcame some of that. I mean, I don't know if that's, I term that a little bit on luck. I don't know if that's all skill. I call that a little bit of luck, considering everything that transpired. So, hey, we could even do like if you want to do a little outdoors version with hunting and fishing and such. So, John says the Bears trading up for Trubisky. That was a weird one too, right? I think that was more so they thought somebody else was going to trade up to get Trubisky, but yeah, they might have gotten fooled in that aspect. There's so many other. You hear some of the stuff. That's one of the things when it comes like to the NFL draft, and you hear some of the stories like years later or after where it's almost like playing a game of chicken where you're trying to fool the team, thinking that, oh, yep, we're going to trade up for this guy. Then you force them to do that and give up some picks and such. I mean, it's a lot of lying and a lot of tall tales being told in some of that. There's no question about it. Hey, Ron Wolf got April fooled by hiring Ray Rhodes. That didn't work. That worked for a year. All roads lead to championships. Maybe could have had Andy Reid. Well, how different would the Packers have looked if, let's say, they hired Andy Reid to replace Mike Holmgren instead of Ray Rhodes? Now, it's easy for us to look back and look at the success that Andy Reid is still having and has had. It doesn't necessarily mean it would be the same exact thing, that it would play out the same way. But one has to wonder, seeing how Andy Reid has developed into a coach, as a head coach, it is a big what if for me in Packers history when you look at it in terms of, Favre and Andy Reid still working together and such. But it's one thing that I know I'm not the only Packers fan that thinks that. And, speaking of fools and such, why not Super Bowl 32? You talk about an upset, I thought we were going to go back-to-back. And nope. Not going to happen. So, there's a lot of good ones out there. A lot of good ones. Keep those coming. So, all right. We're going to take our final break here, and then we'll continue our Packers draft countdown. Taking a look at different potential prospects for day 2 that the Packers could draft. Now that we are in April and the draft is just a few short weeks away, obviously no first-round pick, but day 2 is my favorite. So we'll take a look at some potential options out there for Green Bay. Some guys, some players that could be available for when they make their round 2 and 3 picks. Quick break, and we'll be right back after these few words. Baseball is back, and that means one thing. It's brat season, baby. Swing on into Mike's Star Market and stock up for game day the right way. From a fresh and wide variety of flavorful brats to all they've got from everything, or they've got everything you need to fire up the grill and feed the whole crew. Whether you are tailgating or you're backyard grilling or you're just catching up All right, catching the game at home. Nothing says baseball like brats on the grill. Make every pitch, every inning, and every bite count. That's Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire, your home for brats season. All right, we got about 10 minutes left to the top of the hour. So coming up next hour, we'll get into our Inside the Hobby segment, where we're also going to be giving away this 1991. If you're watching the video stream, I'll hold it up here. 1991 score Kirby Puckett's Dream Team card, PSA graded number 9. Throw a little trivia question if you want a chance to win this thing. All right, if you want a shot to win this. Got to text me. Who is, this is a little trivia question, all right? Who is second in Twins history for career home runs? Number 1 is Harmon Killebrew. Who is number 2? All right. Hit me up with a text, 715-830-1912 with your answer. And if you get it right, we'll throw you in the running and we'll randomly draw a winner for that. I want to finish up this hour getting back to our countdown now that we are in April and we are just a few weeks away from the NFL draft. We know Green Bay does not have a first-round pick. But I love day 2. I love round 2 and 3. I think that's, especially over the last few years, we've seen Green Bay find some really impact players. Or players that have contributed right away. You know, the Javon Bullers, the Edrin Coopers, the Tucker Crafts, the Jaden Reeds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I am excited to see what Green Bay can do in day 2 and 3. And, you know, usually we would do kind of some first-round prospects and such. Day 2, rounds 2 and 3, it's a little bit more open. You know, maybe not a for sure, like, okay, that's definitely a first-round, pick sort of thing. So, these guys could go anywhere, maybe creeping into the back end of the first round or maybe even fall into the 4th round. It's a little bit of a wider range here. So, but I want to take a look at a couple of players here that potentially could be there for Green Bay. And maybe these are some of the names, too. If you've been kind of looking at mock drafts now, getting closer to it, these have been guys that have been mocked to Green Bay from various, analysts and such out there. One guy that has been mocked, I've seen a couple times to Green Bay, is a corner, which we know Green Bay's probably going to get a cornerback in this draft, and that's Keith Abney from Arizona State. Keith Abney, just looking a little bit, and if you want to learn more about these draft prospects and such, if you're not really familiar with them, I will keep plugging this, but NFL.com, Lance Zierlein does a fantastic job breaking it all down and comps and, even some scout quotes about him and such. But Keith Abney, he's 5'10", listed at about 187. And what they say about him is that he's a feisty boundary corner with the makeup to slide inside and become a problem for offenses as a pro nickel back. His coverage IQ and competitiveness are allowed on tape. He pairs impressive instincts and recognition with the ball skills of a receiver. He's physical in press, but he loses ground and picks up penalties when it hits the 3rd level. His top-end speed and closing quickness from depth are average. He's also average in mirroring a shifty release, so rookie reps inside could be a little bumpy. Abney profiles as a zone match nickelback with a physical press presence. Has one quote from a AFC regional scout saying he's trusted and well-respected in Arizona State's building, very competitive, very smart. A lot of that sounds great, right? Sounds awesome. It's like, let's get that guy. Except for maybe a couple things. The penalties also is a top priority for Green Bay right now, a slot or a nickel corner, when you got Javon Bullard kind of in that spot right now. Do they need more of that boundary corner? Excuse me. And it says, feisty boundary corner. And maybe you could play boundary corner at 5'10" for Arizona State at the college level. But does that work? Can that transition to the NFL? What he's going to be going up against? Bigger corners or bigger wide receivers on the outside. So that's the question. If this is a guy that's on that draft board for Green Bay, and they're looking at him, and if he's there, and they want to draft a corner. How much are they going to factor in his size, and how much do they feel like he can maybe play on the outside? Or maybe they just really want to get another nickel corner and such and move Javon Buller a little bit more around in a typical safety position sort of thing. But you like the traits that he brings. It's just, I think the two red flags, and no pun intended, but the two red flags are going to be, okay, penalties can be an issue, and his size. Would he struggle on the outside against bigger, taller receivers? Another player here, I'm going to go back to the defensive line here. We're going to go back to the state of Georgia, the College of Georgia. Georgia defensive tackle Christian Miller. You're talking about a big human being, 6'4", 320 pounds. All right. Miller, according to Lance Zierlein, is an even front nose tackle who can rattle pads and gain early advantages at the point of attack. He has good stack and shed against single blocks, but lacks the prototypical mass of a space eater. He will lose his anchor to double teams and strong angle blocks at times. He's average at matching lateral movement off the snap, but is generally aware of play design and hustles across gaps to squeeze run lanes. He'll continue to bulk up and should become a good starter who is more consistent than dominant along the interior. One scout said he's solid and tough, and that's a valuable position, so he probably goes earlier than you think. We know Green Bay needs some beef on that defensive line. We know they probably want to improve, defensive line in terms of stopping the run. The biggest question for a guy like Christian Miller, for what we think the style of defense that Green Bay is going to play is he big enough to play a nose tackle? Is he big enough to eat up some of those gaps? Because a little bit of that write-up, it kind of gives the impression that, no, maybe he's not. He's not a big sack guy. You look through his career at Georgia, 1.5 sacks last year, 1.5 sacks the year before, just 1 sack in 2023. He's your guy that you put on a defensive line to help stop the run. But if he's struggling with double teams and he's not, a big-time space eater, does he fit in that style of defense that it seems like Green Bay wants to play? Now, is there room to bulk up? Absolutely. He can do that. And maybe they feel confidence in his ability to get bigger, or they feel confident like, okay, he's got the tools, he's got the traits. But again, these are round 2 and 3, right? These are historically, especially under Goody, you're looking at guys that are going to be able to come in, or you want guys that are going to be able to come in and be contributors right away. So is this a guy that you could put in as a nose tackle in a 3-4, or do they view him more as a end in a 3-4, which right now it feels like that's Devontae Wyatt and Hargrave. Maybe this is a replacement potentially for a Devontae Wyatt, another former Georgia defensive lineman. So that's the biggest thing for this player, for Christian Miller, is can he transition to a 3-4 defensive lineman? And I get it. It's, it's not going to be straight up 3-4. We're going to see, I think, versatility and elements of both defenses. But if we're straight up just looking at, 3-4 possibilities, maybe not the best fit. But, hey, maybe they view that he could go over and play an end on a 3-4, or if he bulks up, he could go in and slide inside. But those are just a couple names that maybe have kind of been mentioned as possible draft picks, round 2, round 3 for the Packers. We'll continue this countdown and continue to highlight a couple more players leading up to the draft. So, all right, shot clock is going to cut me off here in less than a minute. So coming up next hour, we'll do a little Inside the Hobby. All right, it is April Fool's. So what are some of the, for all of you card collectors out there, or maybe when you were younger, what were some of the cards that maybe we all kind of got fooled on and such? I was looking some of these up from last night and such. So kind of some interesting names throwing out there. So we'll hit that up and continue to send me your players, your teams, or your moves, sports moves that you were fooled on. Yeah, I thought this was going to be the biggest or a big free agent signing, or that draft pick was going to be awesome, and it wasn't.